We all know that sharks are under immense pressure around the world. Got a third of species threatened with extinction. So something needs to be done. If we're going to protect these animals, we need to know where their important places are, where they're feeding, where are they reproducing. We need to put those places on a map.
You look at the Pacific Ocean from out at space, you pretty much don't see anywhere. It's just tiny countries and small populations of people. The governments are generally very small. They don't have big administrations that are required to look after their ocean space.
It's a massive, massive area of sea that you're going across. Very, very difficult to access, very difficult to travel around it. So inevitably there is relatively little sparse data.
But in this region as well, sharks are culturally very important. So once there is a bit more information available about where some of these special areas are for sharks, I think there will be a lot of interest in trying to protect those sites.
There's relationships that tie them to more than just animals that exist in the sea. They have kinship, clans that come from sawfish, or a story where it used to be a human before it became a sawfish. And so protecting sawfish is protecting sawfish for the world, they're critically endangered, but it's also protecting the cultural heritage of people and what they contribute to the humanity.
This week at the workshop has been about putting sharks on the map. And what that's been is finding any kind of evidence of important areas for these sharks, whether it's from dive operators, actual data, fisheries, and seeing what can support that those areas are special.
Because there's still a global lack of data for sharks and rays, we kind of have to find these weird sources, like talking to local experts, talking to dive shops, looking through photo repositories and freely available data to complement the data that we do have.
So this exercise is just about mapping out those areas so that information is available and readily accessible for policymakers and to inform future management.
There is a lot of interest in New Zealand at the moment to identify areas of importance to shark rays and chimeras. So hopefully this process helps kind of speed up that identification, and hopefully government is serious about setting aside some of these important areas.
This can be used in the future, especially for us, the Ministry of the Fisheries. It can help assist the policy makers in making a decision of the important areas.
Fiji is one of the few countries where communities actually own the traditional fishing grounds. So having these areas mapped out, which they can visualize and see, will bring home that responsibility we have of looking after their resources, not only at the present day, but for the future. Because having an area recognized globally is, I would think, something to be proud of.
It should especially be a visual reference database that can be used in various countries to enhance shark ray conservation when we think about the 30 by 30 initiative, so that they don't get forgotten in the 30 by 30 suggestions.
The beauty, in my view, on looking at ISRAs is that you have a bunch of experts who absolutely know their subject, who are putting information together in a format and a structure that is amenable to KBA kind of work. So the ISRA staff will be generating our best understanding and knowledge of important shark and ray areas, and a subset of that will be useful from a KBA perspective.
It will really help scientists, once they study these species, narrow in on questions and places they can go to study these animals. It's really made me aware that in New Zealand we rely a lot on fisheries data. We actually have very little ecological or biological information on most of these species. So justifying some areas has been a challenge just because the species are common and we know they're there. But it's very, very difficult to demonstrate that without research.
Reach out to colleagues and collaborators, to dive centres, to conservationists, scientists, anyone in your region or country that operates in and around the ocean with these species, because it is actually quite incredible when you pull different parties together from the conservation sector, the diving sector and the science sector, how much information is actually there.
Any documentation, any photos, any sightings through conservation group and through tourism groups that go to those sites every day. If you can collect ahead of time more information, it will make the task a lot easier.
and engage in the process. Because if you don't engage in the process, that information that you've got on your hard drive is gone. Like it's not made available for us to use to protect these animals.
Everyone learns something new, and it's a fantastic time. Not only important, but also joyful.
Put your freshwater sharks and rays on the map.
Put your manta rays on the map.
Put your musk ray on the map.
Put your sharks and rays on the map.
Growing it back on a normal view and a mapping.
Put your scaled hammerhead sharks on the map.
Put him Olgata shark below Wara below you on top of me.
Put your oceanic whitetips on the map.
Mengu, Edeng, Ekau, El Lolia, Erabab.
Put hemicilliums on the map.
Put your cat shark on the map.
Put your gulper sharks on the map.
Put your sharks on the map.
Put your sharks on the map.